Welcome back to Practical Knife Reviews. This is another bonus kind of how-to video. And this is something that we tried in one of the previous videos that didn't work, and I have a suspicion of why. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be looking at how to center a blade on a traditional slip joint knife. Something that I've done several times before with success, but the last time I tried it was with you might have seen the video on our channel, we tried it with a hawkbill knife with a lock, and the lock is pushing so hard on the side of the blade, and I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why it's not centering despite me trying to center it. And so we're going to try it with this one. Hopefully I'll get it on camera this time and I don't do something stupid like break the knife, which I have done once before when doing this technique, although I've had more successes. Anyway, I've got to hurry up and stop blathering. This is a vintage Camillus TL-19 electrician's knife. You can see Camillus, New York. We've got our spear point blade there, screwdriver there. Yeah, love this knife. We'll be doing a review on it in the future if I don't break it. You can see the screwdriver is centered well, but the blade is way off center, almost pressing against the liner. In fact, I think it is pressing against the liner a little bit. So we're going to try to recenter this blade. How are we going to do this? This is the how-to part of this video. Let me move this hammer out of the way so you don't get the wrong idea. My workbench right now is a little bit messy because I was working on a few other projects in my limited free time. Okay, so what are you going to need? First of all, you're going to need the knife that needs to be centered. Second of all, you're going to need a hammer, but I wouldn't recommend a steel hammer. I would recommend something more forgiving, like a rubber mallet, or this is a hard plastic mallet. And you're going to need something to cushion the blade. This is just some old rag that I was using to wipe some varnish with. It'll work fine. If you have a cloth, that'll work fine. Whatever. It's just something to cushion the blade a little bit. So, the first thing to do is look at what way your blade is favoring. This blade is favoring, if you're looking at it from this way, where the point is pointing towards you, the blade is off to the left. So we need it to go to the right. How are we going to do that? This is how. You're going to open the blade halfway. This one has a half stop. It works whether it has a half stop or not. You're going to open the blade halfway. You're going to lay it on the side that it is favoring. So again, this is favoring the left. We're going to open it and lay it on its left side. Now, I'll tell you what the idea is here before I cover it and start doing it. But basically what's going to happen is we're going to cover here to cushion the blow, but we're essentially going to be hitting right here in front of the ricasso of the blade. So right about here is where we're going to be planning on hitting. You don't want to like whack it, but we're going to be doing fairly steady taps on it. You want to go a little bit at a time because you can overshoot it. I've done that. You just turn it around and go back the other way. But what you really need to make sure is that you don't have this thing bouncing, because that's going to increase the amount of stress that the knife is taking. Wouldn't recommend doing it on a knife that doesn't have a metal bolster and has a fragile material like horn or bone. If you don't have a bolster and it's a fragile material, you might crack it during this. But this one is hard plastic and has a bolster, so we should be pretty safe on the handle not breaking. We'll just make sure that we don't break the blade. So again, let's look at where we are to begin with. Way off to the left. We're going to lay it here. We're going to lay this here. And I like to turn it this way, because then I can pull down the tip with this finger, hold down the handle with this finger, and that'll really prevent any bouncing from happening. And now we're just going to start whacking right here. You're going to want to go around a little bit, but like I said, you're pretty much, I don't know if you can hear me over the banging, but if you can, you're pretty much aiming right for the front of that ricasso, just in front of it, but you can aim around just a little bit. Let's see if we've moved it at all yet. We likely haven't. We have not. So then we keep doing it. And you just keep doing it until you get to where you want. Again, keeping in mind you don't want the the blade to be bouncing against the table. So you really do have to do a good job of holding it down. Still no movement. I'm going to end the video here just so that this doesn't end up being a 10 or 12 minute long video and we can do it in 7. So I'll end the video here. Once I get it to where I want it, I'll turn it back on. But I'm just going to be doing the same process little by little. Once in a while, you can try to beat on it while it's open, but I wouldn't recommend that. That was how I broke the one. I would recommend staying at the 50% position. Anyway, I'll be back in just a second. Hopefully I still have an intact knife at that point. Brief update. You can see it's coming off that liner just slightly, but we still got a lot to do, so I'll be back at it. So this one was quite stubborn. I really had to beat on the sucker, but you can see I've got it centered now. That is pretty much right where I want it. But you can see I've picked up, so this had already a little bit of blade wobble when I started, but it's picked up a little bit more since then. So there's an easy way to fix that. Let's bring it over to the anvil here. All right, not the anvil, I'm drawing a blank, it doesn't matter. Let's see if I'm on the camera. Okay, you just got to get it so that the front bolster is on the metal. Let's see. And you're just going to give it a good couple whacks. The pin is right here. You can't see it, but I can actually feel it. The pin is right there. And I'm just giving it a couple taps to reseat it. Couple taps on the other side. Check the centering, still good. And let's get it back on the camera. Tough to see where I am on this. And now, no wobble at all. At all. Even less than there was at the start. The pull is still fine. And the centering is still good. So, that's how you recenter the blade on a slip joint traditional pocket knife. Thanks for tuning in. Hope it was useful. I wouldn't recommend trying it on any like heirloom pieces. I don't do it on any knives that have sentimental value, especially when they're stubborn like this and you really have to beat on the sucker. But if you've got a knife that you like, this is a really nice user. So if you like the knife and the centering really is so far off and it's bothering you, that's how you can fix it. All right, that's it for this bonus episode of Practical Knife Reviews. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again with a knife review real soon.